Good morning, beloveds. It is October 7th, and our title is On Dealing with Grief. And I find the title very interesting because immediately, as soon as I read the title, it reminded me that about, something within the next, and it kicked me off and then reconnected. So here we are. In the next couple of days, I flew home to Kentucky to do a memorial for my aunt. And one of the things that I remember is that the body remembers. The mind may not, but the body remembers. So if you find your body feeling in interesting ways, you might check in and see if you have come up on the anniversary of something. So, I don't know how to explain it any better than that, but, if your body's kind of, then check in, see if there's something that you're coming up on an anniversary from that you may not have thought about. All right. So, again, I said the title and there is no helpful sunbeam. So we're just going to put the glasses on. On dealing with grief. The first quote is, "The Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the day of thy mourning shall be ended." And that is Isaiah 60:20. The second quote is, Our contention is not that dead men live again, but that the living man never dies. Our contention is that the dead people live, not that the dead people live again, but that the living people never die. Okay, all right. That's Science of Mind, page 377. I've gotten really good at gender neutraling, and sometimes they catch me off guard. Not to grieve for someone we love who has passed from this world would be very strange. How wonderful that we have the heart to love, but we also have the power to reason and to surmount the feelings of loss and loneliness. Our love will suffer no loss if we do this, for real love is strengthened by true understanding. But prolonged grief is as unnatural as no grief at all. You should ask yourself what you grieve for. Do you want your loved one? Do you just want your loved ones with you again? All the tears in your heart will not bring them back. You know this. But if you would dry the tears, your heart would get back to the good love it knew, the happy love. How proud they would be if you would try. When you are willing to let the grief go, the loved ones come alive again in your heart, your thoughts. Their spirit is not entombed, for it is eternal life. Do not shroud yourself in the mantle of excessive grief, for then it becomes self-pity. Let the light of God lift you. Raise it in your heart, and it will lift you up and renew you with courage and strength. Thank you, God, for the reassurances in my heart right now that you are life eternal, and my own life, as well as my beloveds. Within my heart is the love that heals and restores me to normal living. I let my grief go that joy may return, for this is the way of truth. I am now restored to the happy thought of my loved ones. I choose healing now. I accept it. The word of life brings renewed peace and faith. I am grateful. And that is C.C. Craig Carter. And I just noticed that the camera angle had shifted. Okay. All right. So, and that's, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna order my thoughts. When I went into ministerial school, I thought I was going to go into youth ministry. I happened to be pretty good with teenagers. And it turns out I actually went into pastoral care. And the reason why I went into pastoral care is because this is the same reason that I'm good with teenagers, because I'm good with change. teenagers go through changes, marital statuses go through changes, our bodies go through changes. And so I happen to be pretty good at that. And one of the things that comes with grief, and what he said, but without, I'm going to say that there's a psychology, there's a mythology, there's an anthropology to grief. And what I have learned through all of those, when you're dealing with grief, is that when you hold on to the loss, that's where it hurts. Because you are holding on to the loss. You are not holding on to the person. You are holding on to the loss. Okay? And that's where the pain is. That is where the pain is. Yes, this person is no longer physically in our life. We can't just pick up the phone and call them. Yes, we can't write them letters or whatever our physical relationship is. But having done enough memorials and funerals, where the love is the being able to tell the stories of the people that we love. And it's interesting to watch the very nice lady that I work for in Betsy's has lost her husband and one of her sons. And she'll tell stories about both of them. And the love that she does it with, because it's been 5-6 years now, the love that she does it with, you can hear it. She misses them. She clearly misses them. But it's the ability of her to tell stories without getting all choked up and, and teary-eyed. Not that there aren't a little bit, you'll see a little bit of it, because that's the depth of her love. She clearly misses them. But it's being able to tell these stories about these two men from her life that she still loves, is where the joy is, where the love is. So that when we work on grief, that is one of the things that we want to get to. We want to get past the loss, the pain of the loss. We want to work through the past. You can't just bypass it. You have to work through it. But you want to get to the point where you can tell stories about them in joy, in love, in grief, because that keeps them alive for you in your heart. Because that's one of the, I do enjoy talking about the aunt that I had gone home a year ago to do the memorial. I do enjoy talking about her, because she's funny. I like to see pictures of her. I like to be able to talk about her. And that's one of the things, is when losses are fresh, you don't want to hurt somebody by talking about who they've lost. But that may be something that they need. And as the pain of the loss gets better, then that need to talk and tell stories may grow. So it's when somebody comes to you and wants to talk about somebody that they've lost, one of the greatest gifts that you can do is to listen to their stories. Listen to their stories, because that's what they need. And when you need to talk about somebody that you have physically, then find somebody that, even if they don't know the person, can just listen to you tell stories about them. It is one of the most healing things that you can do for yourself if you have that need. Now, if you don't want to talk about him, that's on you. But that is one of the ways that we can heal that grief. Because when we don't talk about those, those people that are gone, then it makes the pain that much deeper. Okay? I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, track me down and we'll have a deeper conversation about this. It's one of the things that I do. I might say I enjoy doing. you know, not that I enjoy other people's grief, but it's the process of supporting people as they navigate through this. That's my love. That's my love. So, which is why I ended up in pastoral care. So, and he's right. Not to grieve somebody that we've lost is unnatural. Grief is a natural, and it's a cycle, but it's not a smooth cycle. You expect grief to be like this, and it's not. It's like, and that's okay too. So if you are in a grief process, then be gentle with yourself. And when you meet people who are in a grief process, be gentle with them. We've all lost people that we love. That is what it means to come into this material realm. But one of the things that I've seen, one of the ways that I've heard it described is that they're in the next room. We can no longer see them. We can no longer hear them, but they're still there. They're still there. And there will come a time that we will leave this room and we will join them in the next room. Okay. All right. I definitely need to do my eye drops today. I like how he says, our love will suffer no loss if we do this, for the real love is strengthened by true understanding. When we reason, when we understand, when we know that life is eternal. This vehicle is not eternal, but life is eternal. The individualized spirit that we are is eternal. All right. I don't even know what I would say, but if you would dry your tears, your heart would get back to the grand love it knew, the happy love, how proud they would be if you would try. So I almost hesitate to even give you a mission. But I think that that's it. To get back to the grand love you knew. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is when we come to that loss, to remember the grand love, to get to that place where we can tell stories about them, and tell stories of how they impacted us, and why they're important to us, to keep that love alive. And yes, the pain of loss will prick us every time, but the love will overwhelm that. So, kind of a strange mission today, but there we are. And it's always the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is always to come back to love, regardless of the words that I use. That's always the mission. That is what we are working on, to always come back to love. All right, beloved. So that's the mission. The second mission is the same mission that I give you every day, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. And sometimes that means finding someone to tell the stories of our loved ones who are no longer with us. Okay? Because telling those stories can absolutely be a healing balm. It can be. So, when you look at what is loving, what is kind, what is compassionate, those, I always suggest the deep breath, the take the walk, take the nap, all of those things. I suggest the making a point to enjoy your life. And sometimes that kind, compassionate thing that we can do for ourselves is to find someone to tell our stories to, whatever those stories are. And sometimes they're stories of loss. And sometimes they're stories of heartbreak. And sometimes they're stories of victories, But we are storytelling spirits. We tell stories constantly. And when we gift each other the grace of listening to each other's stories, that's where it is. I mean, honestly, listening to stories, that's my heaven. That's my heaven. It really is. I love to hear the stories. I love to hear the stories. So, when you're practicing that loving, kind, compassionate thing, think about that. Do you want to listen to other people's stories? Do you want to tell your own stories? And there's a variety of ways to tell your stories. It can be like I'm doing now, verbally. It can be through electronics. It can also be through writing, painting. There's a variety of number of art forms of which you can share your stories. So, and that's part of the loving, kind, compassionate. Find your medium. Find your medium. All right. I feel like there's more that I should be saying about that loving, kind, compassionate thing. Outside of, I encourage you to practice on yourself because you are a beloved child of God. You deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. All right. Practice on yourself. It's also about creating the habit, that default setting, that first response. All right. When we react, that's what we've been taught. When we respond, that's what we have learned. Okay? Think about that for a minute. Oh, allergy season. I'd rather not cough, so. And there we go. Because I'm going to lose my voice if I don't. All right. I encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, unless today's your day of rest, because Friday is my day of rest. I rest my body. I do not exercise on Fridays. Then I encourage you to drink plenty of water. Even though I don't exercise, I still drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. I also encourage you to get early in your day bright light. I used to like things really dim, and now I'm learning that bright light is my friend. I see better in the bright light. Go figure. I do also encourage you, that was the circadian rhythm one, right? Bright light early in your day, you'll sleep better at night, feel better, have more energy during the day. Science. Who is it that says that? Science! I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's probably from a Scooby-Doo cartoon, knowing me. All right. And then in the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around you all the time. And like I said, listening to people's stories, that's part of my heaven. All right. So it is a superpower that you have because it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Where is your joy? Where is your heaven? What is heaven to you? Do more of that. Do more of that. All right. And then we can always take Emma's advice and look for the good and praise it. Okay. Yeah. So here's where I remind you about the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. So please check that out. You want to know what's going on with the center, and get all of those hot links. Our constant contact is info@creativelife.org. That would be our email. So email that, get on that constant contact, and then you'll always know what's going on, even when I don't. And yep, I think. Outside of, I am going to remind you that tomorrow is the opening day of the Texas Renaissance Festival, and I have agreed to continue working there. So Saturdays will go, I won't be on with you Saturday mornings. I will do them Saturday nights. So instead of 9 a.m., it'll probably be around 9 p.m. It'll depend on what time I get home. So, but I will do them, I will still do them. You'll just have to look for them at a different time. And I'll make sure that I don't conflict with Reverend David, who should be on around 5 p.m. with you. So here's where I will remind you to have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day. If it is Friday, a Friday. A looking forward to tomorrow day, but having a great time today day. A magical day, an enchanted day, a fantastic day, an awe-filled day. A good day, and if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. All right, beloveds, as I have said before and will continue to say, you are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased and well represented. All right? Always. It's a state of grace. So, take care of yourself. As I said, I will be on tomorrow night, not tomorrow morning. The rest of the day should be as regularly scheduled days. There, I don't foresee any other changes other than, Saturdays will go to evenings for 8 weeks, and then we go, well, then we have to deal with Dickens, but we'll deal with Dickens when we get to Dickens. So, take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.